up, bruh? Oh, wait. Too much sunlight, right? How are you guys? Welcome to this episode of Say It Anyway. Can I block that? There we go. Welcome to this episode of Say It Anyway. It's been a little while. You can tell by my hair length. Like I said, I'll cut my hair when I'm more okay with America. So be ready for it to be down to my butt. I'm in California right now. I'm in the middle of the coast, and I'm headed to another show that I have working with Transitions Mental Health Association. And what's really nice is they have me coming in here to do a comedy show, but also speak about the Say It Anyway campaign. This video I'm recording today is by request from someone at my audience last night. I was talking about people being their own toughest critic and why we are our own toughest critic, and what that means, and if we are good enough when we ask ourselves, are we good enough? Now, here's the first thing I want to bring up about this. The way in which you have a relationship with yourself is very much determined by your upbringing. If as a child you were taught that your opinion mattered, people asked you all the time about what you thought and felt, treated you as if you are your own independent individual with autonomy, who your thoughts matter, and that you are loved, you are more likely to be somebody that has an internal monologue with yourself that is more positive, or one where you kind of respect your own opinion or have a higher view of yourself. Now, let's say you grew up with a parent that was narcissistic and they didn't really care about anything you had to say. All they cared about was themselves and whether or not they would be doing well or that you're doing things for them. This is a situation where you might be blamed for stuff that's not your fault. Any emotion the parent might be experiencing, they blame on the child. And so anytime anything goes wrong, you might start having this internal dialogue where you start blaming yourself, or you think all of the issues are your fault, or that you caused the issue or the problem at hand. Now, if this is how you speak with yourself, that doesn't mean you're wrong or bad. It's more difficult, I would say, than people who don't have that are I guess nicer internally with their own monologue to themselves because of how they've grown up developing. But it doesn't mean it's impossible to change, and it doesn't mean that there's something innately broken, wrong, or incorrect about you. It's just that I don't want us to be ashamed with how we speak to ourselves and how we view ourselves internally. I want us, however, to understand that the only relationship that you are guaranteed for the entirety of your existence is the one you have with yourself. There's no one else that's guaranteed to be around in your life for the entire time that you're alive other than you with yourself. That's just a fact of life. And because of that, I want that to be the relationship that we are not afraid of, that individually we can find comfort in. I've had many times in my life where I would always go out or hang out with people or distract myself or do something because I didn't want to sit with my own thoughts. I didn't want to sit with my own brain. I didn't want to have that internal conversation because it wasn't positive, because I was judging myself, because I was thinking I wasn't good enough. And that's a big question that a lot of people have on their mind. Am I good enough? Am I doing good enough? Here's what I want you to know. If you are someone who is your own toughest critic, usually the reason why you are your own toughest critic is because you care. You care if you're doing well. You care if you're perceived correctly. You care if you hold yourself accountable, or if you live up to a standard that you believe is capable, or a standard that other people have put upon you. But what I want you to know is that that is because you are someone who cares. If you care about being good enough for society or for other people, that already means you are good enough. By definition, it means that you're good enough, because here's the thing. If you are somebody who worries about whether or not you're trying hard enough or you do well enough, then that means you are a person who cares about other individuals, who can be empathetic towards other people and who wants to have the greater good in mind. You want to be deserving of the love you receive. Now, there's some people, like the sexual assaulter in chief, DJT, who is very narcissistic, and that person doesn't care if they're good enough. They just want everyone to think they're good enough. There's no worry about that person harming themselves, because preservation of self is all that matters to people that are narcissistic. That's the definition of it. It means you're not going to have understanding or empathy for other individuals, as well as you are all that matters to you. Now, narcissism is very effective for reproduction and survival, right? Being a narcissist, you might be able to achieve many partners. You might be able to make multiple children. You might be able to get those partners and those children and family members to do things to keep you around and alive. You know, maybe like Trump does, where he gets everybody to cover up all of his illegal things, or to give him loans even after bankruptcy and things like that. So what I want you guys listening to know is, if you are worried about being good enough, you are. You just are. Because what we need is people that think about our impact on the world. We need people that think about how we fit into the community. And by nature, that means that those are good people, and you are already on the right track. You're a part of this as much as I am. You're in this with me. None of us chose to be born. None of us chose to be alive at this time period. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose what country we're born in. We don't choose our sexuality or our race or anything like that. So I don't want us to be ashamed of these things. Like, we didn't choose who taught us our inner monologue when we were younger. We didn't choose the societal system that showed that to us. So what I want you guys to know is that we need more empathy, and we need more people saying, how does what I'm doing impact other people? Then maybe we'll start making decisions that are better for the environment, or better for the community, or better for people that have less or are disenfranchised. That's the goal. So if you're wondering if you're good enough, chances are, yeah, hell yeah. Now, if you're somebody, let's say, who murders people, or, you know, puts many different executive orders or legislation on the books that actually leads to death of other people, or the subjugation of those with less, or poor people, then, you know, you should ask yourself, are you good enough? And no, Mitch McConnell, you're not. You are not. But I don't think this is somebody that worries about that, so I'm not worried about him. I think he's fine internally, because he's able to just justify it and able to do any means necessary to make sure that he stays in his position of power with his influence. So please, 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 if you're somebody at home worrying if you're good enough, yeah, you are. Okay? You are. Okay. This has been a very, hopefully, poignant and weirdly lit. Where'd my mouth go? It's gone. It's way too bright. This has been a very interesting Say It Anyway episode, but I'm glad to be back and talking about the things that I care about. And yeah, I think this has a lot to do with the fact that I've been in Midwest winter, and now I'm all of a sudden in California, and sunshine makes me able to speak more. I needed that vitamin D. Didn't know why I had to say it like that. Anyway, great talking to you. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.